Welcome again to another edition of First Person, again sponsored by the Ruin Camp Company in Fort Laramie. 80 years experience, farm, residential, and commercial. If you got wet fields, wet property of any kind, they'll make water work for you. Call Phil Barhorst and he'll take care of it if you got it. We're in Minster today, and first of all, for all those people who've written over the course of the football season and saying, hey, you know, what about the Minster Wildcats? We're having a pretty good year. We're going to salve that wound for the people a little bit today because we have the coach of the Wildcats, GERON Stokes, with us. 7-3 record for the year, a good year for you in a league where wins don't come easy. And we first of all want to congratulate you on that and congratulate you on the Wildcats' latest venture into the postseason playoffs next week.
Yeah, thank you. We had a great group of seniors that have really worked their tails off to get to where they want to get to, and pretty cool honor to get there. Yeah,
it is. First of all, I want to say that I do remember you as a quarterback at Urbana High School and later at Urbana University. It seems like a long time to me. Probably doesn't seem like so long to you, but I will say this. Young man, you have come a long way in that time, in a very short time, and accomplished a lot, particularly here in the 3 years you've been with Minster.
Yeah, well, it was a long time ago. I think we had our 10-year reunion last year. So,
son, 10 years was like a dime to me, a dime. But go ahead.
It's been a fun journey being a head coach at our hometown school, and then getting the job to come up here to Minster and coaching the MAC has been a pretty cool opportunity. So.
We're here on the verge of the 2014 playoffs, and as I mentioned, you won 7 games in the league this year. You're one of 6 teams, MAC teams. Versailles and Delphus and Fort Recovery made it this year, along with your team here at Minster. And of course, you got 2 defending state champions, one who won it 2 years in a row, Marion who won it 3 years in a row. We're talking about Coldwater. I want to give you an opportunity. I won't talk about all 16, but those teams going back this year to try to win 3 straight and 4 straight respectively. I'd like for you to talk a little bit about the Coldwater Cavaliers. You played both teams, had the opportunity to see it. Characterize what Coldwater's like.
Tough, physical. They are really well coached. And they got a culture that just keeps breeding winners, and you know, they fill in holes with one kid right after the other, and don't miss a beat. So they turn average football players into really good ones by the time they've been in the program for 4 years.
And they also have that youngster up there that I know you coaches all salivate for, that Brody Hoying player, that whether he's on defense or whether he's on offense, he's a winner. I characterized him earlier in the year as being one of the most impactful players in any of the 7 divisions of Ohio high school football at Coldwater. They've got a couple of kids like him and a Chris Post at running back, but they get those kinds of kids.
Yeah, that culture's breeding kids, and man, he's as good of a football player as I've seen. Just a backyard football player, tough guy that gets after it.
Coldwater going for their 3rd consecutive title, Marion going for their 4th consecutive title, and there's people out there, myself included, who don't ask the question, even without Adam Berkey and Troy Holman and some of the people that they lost last year, Jason Brunswick on their line, they might be better this year than the 3 previous teams that have won state titles. You played them, and you pressed the issue right up to the end. Played them well.
We just had the opportunity to study them starting this year, so I haven't had the opportunity to see other Marion teams up close and personal, but when I was at Urbana, I got to study them a little bit, from outside, and just they play the game the right way. They're always big and physical and just get after you. And Coach Goodwin's got it rolling, and it's probably not going to stop anytime soon.
And Jaron, from a coach's perspective, what is it? You know, it's hard enough to win 1 title. You win them back to back, and you think, Mike Wiss has done that here in baseball. But you win 3 in a row, and now the thought of winning 4. There's only one other team in the history of Ohio football has done that, and that's St. Ignatius back in the 90s, and they won 11 titles overall. What's it like to think about winning 4 in a row?
Just a huge credit to Coach Goodwin and that entire community, man. That's tough. There's complacency, and that's a major accomplishment. I'm not sure people appreciate what he does and what that community does over there.
GERON Stokes, the head coach of Minster, our guest today here on the verge of the threshold of the 2014 playoffs. talk about your team a little bit. We talked about Brody Hoying a moment ago. We talked about some of the Marion kids that are leaders on the team. You got a couple of those kids too. You got an Eli Wolf, one of the best wide receivers in the state of Ohio, a Division I prospect, and you got a youngster at quarterback, a junior, and I'm a baseball guy, so I know he plays baseball, and I think that always brings something. Because in baseball, you can't hide. You have to be an individual leader from your position. And Josh Nixon and Eli Wolf give you that.
Yeah. Eli's dynamic. Just has made plays for us all year long, been in double coverage and still coming up with the football and making plays. And Josh has done a great job. We've put a lot more emphasis on him to run our offense and make a ton of decisions. He's making a lot of decisions that a lot of high school quarterbacks don't get to make. And he's continuously just gotten better with it, and as he gets more and more comfortable, I think we'll be more efficient, but just two great kids that you like to have on your team.
I want to talk to you a little bit about something, and I saw you 4 or 5 times this year. Certainly saw you against St. Henry, saw you against Marion, saw you against Coldwater, and your Anna game a couple of weeks ago. And it seemed to me like Anna came back from a 21-7 deficit in that and put your backs to the wall. They put you in a bad place. You had that bad fumble on a punt there, and they punch it in. They tie the score. They've got all the momentum, and yet your kids with their back to the wall came back, and that last drive with 45 seconds left found a way to win. Could you have done that earlier in the year?
That's a good question. I don't know. Our kids, our seniors, have really taken this thing by the horns and said, here's what's going to happen, and here's what we're going to try to do and try to get accomplished. And we want to be a tough football team. We want to be a resilient football team, and you know, that's not always our nature of kid right now that we have. And but they've worked and really have tried and pushed and really became uncomfortable to try to get that. And it's pretty awesome seeing that take place a little bit. I mean, we could have folded, we could have, yeah, and they just kept fighting, which is nice.
And can you see that mentality filtering down through your JV kids and then your 8th grade and your 7th grade? Because that's the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, you want those kids to look at your senior high program and learn from them. And that's what they do at Marion, that's what they do at Coldwater, that culture you talked about.
For sure, for sure. And we need a foundation here that sets that tone to be a tough guy, to be a football guy, to be a guy that's not going to be afraid to go attack people and not lay down when things get tough. So our seniors have done a really nice job of setting that foundation.
Sure. Mechanicsburg, first round of the playoffs. I don't need a scouting report or anything about them, but my question is this for you. When you're playing a team from the Ohio Heritage Conference that you don't see, as an old athlete, I always said, you know, it's easier to play in the MAC, and the MAC's tough, but it's easier to play against familiar people. Is there an air of intimidation or unfamiliarity that makes it hard to prepare kids for somebody that you have never seen before and you may never see again?
Ironic twist to all that whole question. I'm best friends with their head coach.
Okay.
I've studied their program in and out. We talk probably 3 or 4 times a week. I've seen them practice. I prepared with them for last year's playoff run that they had. We share huddle accounts, so we have all of each other's tapes, and we're really close. So I know their kids well. He knows our kids well. There's no unfamiliarity about this whatsoever.
But that's between coach and coach. You know, can you translate that to your kids?
Right.
Can you make your kids feel that familiar with playing Mechanicsburg?
Well, our kids know that you're in week 11, and from here on out, every team you're going to get is going to play hard, play fast, play physical, have really good players. So from that standpoint, our kids got to expect a fight with any and everybody. So the unfamiliarity, we know what's coming.
Yeah,
we know what's coming.
7-3 going in, and we certainly wish you the best on Friday night. But irrespective of the playoffs, have you built and got the foundation of where you want it to go forward into 15, 16, 17 down the road with Minster football?
Yeah, the work habits have increased, which has probably been the biggest thing, where we're starting to do the things that need to contain, you know, success. But we still got a ways to go. Still got a ways to go, and our seniors have just worked tirelessly to try to get it right, and hopefully some of these underclassmen follow.
GERON Stokes, the pride of the Urbana Hill Climbers. Once upon a time, I would say the pride of Minster, Ohio, here for the job that you've done this year. Again, congratulations. Best of luck Friday night.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be out there watching you. We'll have that game here, feature coverage of it on Press Pros. Once again, that wraps up this edition of First Person. Again, brought to you by the Ruin Camp Company in Fort Loramie. 80 years experience, farm, residential, and commercial. They'll make water work for you. For Ruin Camps and Coach Stokes, thanks again for your support of high school sports on PressProsMagazine.com. We'll see you again with another edition of First Person.